Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Since taking over WWE's creative regime, Triple H has regularly made pivotal changes, be it repackaging superstars or introducing new factions. While some changes have been noticeable, others have unfolded discreetly. Given the recent situation, fans have been wondering whether the game quietly dismantled a prominent faction on Raw. Latino World Order. LUO's conspicuous absence from the Red Brand show has sparked widespread speculation among fans. Zelina Vega, Cruz del Toro, Joaquin Wilde, and Dragon Lee have all been noticeably missing from the show of late. It has been a while since the LUO stablemates have been spotted with Rey Mysterio, leaving fans wondering about the faction's status. However, Triple H has not broken up the Latino World Order. A major reason why the members of the group have not been seen together is due to a lack of creative plans for them. The company is seemingly struggling to book Rey Mysterio and co. in a faction versus faction feud on Monday Night Raw, and this creative dilemma may be the reason for their prolonged absence. The Master of 619 made a surprise appearance on the latest edition of SmackDown and also competed in an impromptu match. Meanwhile, Zelina Vega has been making sporadic appearances on Raw, while Dragon Lee has been absent from the Red Brand show for quite some time. This is a clear indication that the company currently has no plans for LDO. It remains to be seen whether Triple H has plans to keep the legendary faction active or if he decides to disband it in the coming months. LUO's fate is looming in uncertainty. Rey Mysterio's surprise appearance on the Blue Brand show this week has created quite a buzz among fans. The legendary luchador competed in a singles match against Kevin Owens on the Friday night show in which he suffered a loss. However, this also caused the WWE Universe to wonder whether the veteran had switched rosters. However, there are no reports of Mysterio moving to SmackDown. The recent episode of Blue Brand's show took place in San Diego, California, which happens to be his hometown. Therefore, the Master of 619 paid a visit to the show to greet his home crowd and announce his participation in the Men's Royal Rumble match. Triple H does not seem to have any plans of moving Rey Mysterio to Friday nights. The WWE Hall of Famer is set to remain a part of Monday Night Raw on Netflix. However, fans can certainly expect some inter-brand feuds involving Rey, as the brand split seemingly no longer holds any significance. It will be quite interesting to see what the future holds for the legendary luchador, and if the game has any major plans for him for WrestleMania 41. In the ever-evolving world of professional wrestling, WWE superstars often find themselves in the midst of factions, alliances of wrestlers that together dominate the landscape and shape the course of history. These groups have an undeniable impact on the company's storylines, rivalries, and the way fans engage with the product. Whether it's the NWO, the Shield, or D-Generation X, factions have become synonymous with defining moments in WWE history. But what happens when a faction begins to fade into the background, with no clear announcement or ceremony? Could it be that Triple H, the cerebral assassin himself, quietly dismantled one of the most legendary factions in WWE without the usual fireworks? The answer, it seems, lies in the events surrounding a recent episode of Monday Night Raw. To understand the potential breakup, it's important to first examine the rise of the faction in question, the Judgment Day. Formed in 2022, this group quickly became a dominant force in WWE. Initially, it was led by the charismatic Finn Balor and featured an eclectic mix of talent, including Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley, and eventually, Dominic Mysterio. With a gothic and rebellious aesthetic, the Judgment Day quickly established themselves as an unstoppable faction, with each member playing a vital role. Throughout 2022 and into 2023, the Judgment Day was involved in some of WWE's most significant storylines. From Rhea Ripley's dominance over the women's division to Finn Balor's pursuit of titles, and Dominic Mysterio's transformation into one of the most hated heels in the company, the faction's rise was a testament to its power and influence. They even tangled with some of WWE's biggest names, including Edge, Rey Mysterio, and even Cody Rhodes. However, as the months went by, A noticeable shift began to occur. While the faction's individual members continued to achieve success, the group as a whole seemed to be losing momentum. Gone were the days of dominating every match and making their presence felt in every storyline. Instead, the faction began to feel a bit disjointed, with each member's character becoming more isolated and their collective purpose appearing to blur. Enter Triple H, WWE's chief content officer, and one of the most influential figures in the company's history. After taking over the creative reins of WWE, Triple H made several bold moves that aimed to reshape the product. He reintroduced long-dormant storylines, pushed new talent, and made significant changes to the way factions were portrayed. Among these changes was a subtle but important shift in how factions like the Judgment Day were presented. Throughout 2023 and into 2024, Triple H began to make it clear that the Judgment Day's days of being the central force of WWE were coming to an end. This shift wasn't abrupt, nor was it highlighted with a massive storyline, but there were signs. The first major indicator came when Finn Balor's position as the leader of the Judgment Day was questioned. While still a key member of the group, his prominence began to wane, particularly in relation to the rise of other factions and wrestlers. The emphasis on Balor's leadership within the Judgment Day seemed to decrease, and his storyline focus shifted towards solo endeavors. Another key factor in this shift was the growing prominence of Rhea Ripley. As the reigning SmackDown Women's Champion, Ripley began to distance herself from the faction, focusing more on her own individual character. While she still maintained some ties to the group, it was clear that Ripley's status as one of WWE's top stars was no longer tied to the Judgment Day's collective identity. Then, of course, there was the ongoing situation with Dominic Mysterio. Dominic had arguably been one of the most successful members of the Judgment Day, but as his storyline evolved, he became less associated with the group and more focused on his individual feuds. His relationship with his father, Rey Mysterio, and his rise as a heel were narrative elements that seemed to take precedence over the faction's overall goals. On Monday Night Raw in January 2025, it seemed as though Triple H had finally pulled the plug on the Judgment Day, at least as a dominant faction in WWE. There was no major announcement or dramatic on-screen breakup, no large-scale betrayal or turn of events. Instead, it was a subtle series of interactions and moments that suggested the group was no longer the powerhouse it once was. Finn Balor, once the leader, was noticeably absent from key segments. Rhea Ripley, instead of playing a central role within the group, focused more on her individual matches and storylines. Damian Priest, who had once been a central figure in the Judgment Day's rise, was seen less frequently in major angles. Dominic Mysterio, despite still holding on to his heel persona, was increasingly appearing in matches and segments that did not align with the faction's overall goals. In essence, Triple H had quietly allowed the Judgment Day to fade into the background, not through dramatic action, but rather by simply shifting the focus of the show away from them. This quiet deconstruction of a once formidable faction seemed like a tactical move, aimed at making way for new stories, new rivalries, and a fresh direction for WWE television. What does the potential dismantling of the Judgment Day mean for WWE? On the surface, it's clear that Triple H has a vision for the future, and part of that vision involves allowing older factions to gradually step aside in favor of new blood. WWE is constantly evolving, and part of that evolution involves letting go of past stories and letting new stars rise to the occasion. For the Judgment Day's members, this shift could be both an opportunity and a challenge. Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley, and Dominic Mysterio are all incredibly talented wrestlers, and while their time as a faction may be coming to an end, it's clear that each of them has the potential to succeed on their own. Rhea Ripley, in particular, has been positioned as a top-tier talent, and her individual run could be one of the most exciting aspects of WWE's future. For the fans, however, the quiet breakup of the Judgment Day is a sign of the changing tides in WWE. The days of factions running roughshod over the company may be over for now, but that doesn't mean the end of faction-based storytelling. It merely suggests that WWE, under Triple H's creative direction, is looking to evolve, adapt, and keep its product fresh. In the end, Triple A's subtle dismantling of the Judgment Day is another example of how the wrestling world can change without fanfare, with superstars quietly finding new paths and factions gradually losing their relevance. It may not have been the most dramatic breakup in WWE history, but it certainly was one of the most telling.